Hey, everybody out there. Welcome to our New Hampshire cross country podcast, New Hampshire Cross Talks. We have named it. How exciting is that? And we're just having a conversation about all things running and all things New Hampshire cross country. This is found on the New Hampshire cross country website and powered by Runner's Alley. And I'm here with some friends. So, how about you guys introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so I'm Lucian Gleiser. I'm a senior from Hanover, and I'm super psyched to be on this. I remember when I got the notification for the first ever podcast, I literally said out loud, "No way!" Like I was just so excited. And then Coach Cox went up to me at Black Bear and asked me if I wanted to be on it, and that was just like such a no-brainer to me. Like it's just so cool to have this opportunity. So thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, no, same here. My name is Fiona Lee. I am a senior from Bedford High School. And yes, my coach, I think, came in during one of my classes and just sat down. She was like, New Hampshire Cross Country wants to do a podcast with you. And I was like, no way. Like, that's an obvious yes. I totally want to be on here. So I'm super stoked.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited to hear from you guys and what you have to say. And I know you guys have been doing some big things around the state and been involved in some different meets and stuff. So we're really looking forward to hearing from you. And, again, like we're really hoping that this is a conversation about all things New Hampshire cross country. And we really welcome feedback. So like I said before, if you see us at meets, come up and talk to us and tell us what you think and give us suggestions about how we can make it better, because this is episode number 4. And, so we're learning and we're growing and we're just trying to, talk about things that you guys want to hear about. So I'm pretty excited about that. We are on Spotify, so give us a like and a review there. And I want to also remind coaches to send your results into the HOCA Results Hub. That is totally unutilized, and we want pictures, we want results, we want like PDFs, links to things so that we can share all the awesome things that the runners are doing around the state with all the other runners. So please send that stuff in. And speaking of HOCA, I just want to shout out to our HOCA Athletes of the Week. Really kind of awesome. We have Hopkinton's Madeline Lane, who is a freshman who ran an outstanding race at the Black Bear Invitational. And also Co-Brown's Jamie Lano, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, who also had a really great performance at the Black Bear Invitational. So shout out to those guys. So anyhow, now I want to talk to you guys. Tell us about your season. So Fiona, just give us a little recap of how it's going for Bedford and, what's going on in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I think it's been great. I love the new freshmen on the team. We have a really great dynamic going. Super positive. They're super fun. So that's awesome. I know it's been really hot at the start of the season, so that was something to adjust to. I think we had a few practices and meets canceled at the beginning, and we had to move it to like the night. So some people were kind of doing that on their own, but now it's a lot more normal. So I'm glad that everyone's kind of getting back into the swing of cross country and then acclimating well to like our mileage, our workouts, and the races. I think everyone's having a lot of fun. So it's been good on our ends.
Awesome. And, a question that I have for you is like your team is so big, right? So you guys fielded a whole freshman team at Manchester Invitational. So how are you guys recruiting? How are you, because you're not a huge school, even though you're D1. What's the secret, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, no, I was extremely surprised this year. We have never been able to really run a freshman race at Derryfield. Like I never ran that as a freshman. But I think I really couldn't tell you. I think the middle school does a great job. I think they're trained like the love for cross country. Like my brother, he's in middle school. He was like, oh, I totally want to do it. So I think that's like a big thing. And then once they're all coming up and we're just trying to keep it fun for them, making it a fun sport and not something that they'll like, we're just kind of making it fun for them so that way they enjoy it. But I really couldn't tell you why there's so many freshmen. I think that's great, but yeah.
Well, awesome to you guys. So, and Lucian, how about you?
Yeah, so we're definitely in the same boat. I think we have a super great team, and although I'm pretty sure for us it was only one meet. It was Cofferin Classic, which was pushed back almost a month from the heat. And ironically, that ended up being in probably like the hottest week in October again, which I think is pretty funny. But yeah, Hanover, we probably have one of the strongest teams in the history of the school right now, which is super exciting. It's just so awesome to always be running around so many people, because similarly to Bedford, Hanover has a pretty huge team. I think we may have upwards of 60 or 70 kids,
Right.
even though, yeah, so that's like
A young
over
team.
10% of the school population. Yeah, super young team as well. We have a lot of freshmen and sophomores. I don't know if anyone knows Ben Groves specifically, is a freshman on the boys team who ran sub 17, I think his first ever 5K, which is just super awesome. And the girls team, it's like most of varsity, I think like maybe 4 out of the top 5 are underclassmen, sophomores, and we have so many quality freshmen coming up too. So it's just a super exciting time to be a runner at Hanover, and it's awesome. I'm very happy for the team.
So fun. So speaking of the big teams and the team chemistry, like, do you, either one of you, have anything that your team does over the summer to kind of get together and promote team culture? Any fun activities or anything?
Yeah, Fiona, do you want to go first with that?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm not able to make a lot of the summer practices because I have like a job over the summer, but I know that things that we try to do over the summer are ice cream runs. So try and get those in. We have like an ice cream store near us, so it's pretty close to the school. So we'll just do our workout, and then even during the season, when we have time, we'll try and fit that in after our workouts. We can just walk over. It's really close, so that's really fun. I think something as far as team building goes, we try to do that during the season when everyone's kind of available and in the same area. So we'll try and do apple picking. I think that's something on our agenda that we're excited to do. And t-shirt decorating for D1s and JV states. We kind of dedicated time after practice for that. So yeah, those are a few things.
That's so fun.
Yeah, that's
How about
awesome.
you?
Well, so Hanover, it's kind of almost in like 2 camps. There's no real split in terms of like cliques in the team, but Hanover has a huge Nordic culture, and we have this really big team called JNT, which is Junior Nordic Team, or even Junior National Team. It's one of the two. And anyways, it's like it's a very competitive Nordic program, and I'd say maybe like a third of the athletes kind of train with them over the summer. Then the other 2/3 are usually either have a job or traveling. But we do have something called TNT, which is Tuesday night track, which is really fun. And we try to organize some longer runs on, I think, Saturdays for the whole team. And just similarly to the ice cream runs that Fiona was talking about, we have the famous donut run during preseason, where we all kind of rip it on this net downhill, super straight, beautiful, like wooded rail trail path. And then we all go to this famous place called Muriel's Donuts, and we have like 10 donuts each afterwards. And it's always a lot of fun.
Who doesn't love donuts, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. So speaking of an ice cream run, it reminds me, my team doesn't do this anymore, but they used to do an ice cream mile in the summer, where they literally had a pint of Ben and Jerry's, and they raced a mile and ate it at the same time. I don't know how they did it. It was kind of disgusting. But our team record was a 6:24. She literally ate a pint of Ben and Jerry's and ran a 6:24. And when she crossed the 4th lap, she literally threw the Ben and Jerry's cup like, I did it. Like, it's done. Like, it was so epic. Yeah, that was wild. But for some reason, they let that tradition go. I don't know why. There was some throwing up. There's like, it was really something. But I mean, ice cream, donuts, all good things. All right, I have another question for you guys. All right, so the question is, if you could describe your team and experience in 2 to 3 words, how would you do that? And how do you do that with running, right? Like, how do you summarize the awesomeness that is your team in 2 or 3 words? But can you try for me? Yeah.
I mean, I was actually thinking about this earlier today. Oh, sorry, did I interrupt anyone?
No, it's all good.
Oh, okay.
It's all good.
All right.
No, you go.
So I was actually taking a peek at like the little agenda document we have, and I saw this and I got to thinking immediately. And I actually thought of only one word that I really think describes our team well, which is the word real. Because like unfortunately, I know a lot of people who kind of have like fake, kind of like flimsy, like friendships and personalities and connections and stuff. But our team, it's like so kind of like authentic. Everyone, like, we really are like one big family. And I guess family is another great word to describe that. And it's just like everyone really kind of like trusts each other and likes each other and like just hangs out with each other a lot on their own time too, which is super great. Like I remember we had a team dinner, and just for like 3 hours or something, we all just kind of like sat in one room. It was super crowded. It got really hot and stuffy, but no one cared. We were just like playing card games and Never Have I Ever, and just like super fun party stuff. And yeah, it's just so our team is just kind of like very real and authentic. And I think that's super important for a team to kind of have that like real family. I mean, family values sounds weird because that's like a store, isn't it? But as like family, like values and stuff, and like everyone really likes each other genuinely, which I think is super important. Like we have a really great team culture, I'd say.
That is awesome. And it may seem easy, but sometimes that's really hard to generate, but is really kind of everything to the success of the team. So I love that. Family. That's amazing. All right. How about Fiona?
That's actually so funny because I had family as well, and more specifically, I said sisterhood. On the girls' side, at least, because I think a lot of our time is just spent together. We love going on our runs and weightlifting and doing core all as a group. We'll try to all get done around the same time. We'll wait for like the people with longer mileage or doing different things, just so that we can collectively just be together and joke around and have fun. And it's so positive, and everyone's driven to do it because, the environment is just great for everyone doing their best and putting their best effort in everything we do. So, I think a sisterhood is how I would describe our team.
That's awesome. And, to that, I would say that people who are outside of the running community and cross country in general don't understand how much of a team sport it is, right? Because running does have such an individual piece to it. But can you guys speak to that meaning of team, right? And in terms of racing and even your personal performances. Any thoughts on that as far as cross country and just the team part of it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a lot to say about this. If you mind if I you don't mind if I go first, but so I mean, I think everyone who's done cross country agrees that it's a very, very painful sport. Like I think at Manvites, they actually had shirts that said "My sport is your sport's punishment," which I think was super cool. But I think everyone kind of has this, like, we're all in this together. And if we push ourselves and push each other, it kind of raises the whole group up. So I think like for cross country, especially, I think it's very, very kind of like rare for teams to be kind of like not toxic, but like, I think it's very rare for teams to not kind of have like a super great bond with each other, just because there is that kind of like, we're all in this together and we all need to push ourselves and push each other, like mentality. So I think that definitely plays a big part in team culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's the little things, like whether it's the bus ride, everyone's just kind of doing like their own thing in the beginning, I think, but then the bus ride home is where, I don't know, it all comes together. Everyone's just listening to music, having a time. And then even if you didn't do well, you're able to kind of just leave it all on the course and just have fun with your team, because everyone, wants the best for everyone else. And also our team cheers, like the girls before every race. I know that a lot of teams do this, but the team cheer is just such like an amazing activity that we do every single time before we go, because it just hypes you up and then you get the energy going. Everyone's able to contribute, and I think that's something really special and unique that not a lot of other sports really get to have. So
right. So to people who would argue that our sport is so individual, I would say to them that I feel like it's the greatest team sport that you would ever be a part of. And I feel like being on a cross country team, it takes the individual out of it. And when I stepped on the line in high school and college, I knew that I had 6 other people that had my back and were in it with me. You know, it was so different. I mean, track's awesome too, and there's certainly a team aspect, but there's just something about cross country and just knowing that you matter to other people that just really takes it to the next level, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. So with that, give us what is your favorite workout as a team? Like, you know, the one you guys look forward to, or even if it's the hardest one of the year, like what is like the favorite Bedford workout, the favorite Hanover workout, without maybe giving away too many secrets, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think this is like a secret spying program trying to figure out the secrets of all the teams.
I guess, yeah, I can go. I don't know if this would be something that is shared amongst the rest of my team, but personally, I really like it when we go to, Dairyfield, the course, and then we're able to kind of do we do 1K repeats, which is no one's favorite ever. It's not necessarily that it's my favorite. I just like that, we're all kind of able to work together and kind of all relate because we're all in pain together. So that's just great. We'll put on some music sometimes. So we'll listen to Doja Cat or something as we're going up McIntyre. And I think that's just so awesome. And then after, in the moment it hurts, but after you look back and you're like, wow, that was a really great workout, really satisfying. We were able to accomplish it all together. Even though everyone's kind of doing their own thing, it's like your own individual accomplishments you do as a group of maybe 3 or 4 girls. So that was really cool.
Yeah, totally. I mean, for me personally, I would say my favorite workout of the whole season, it's actually the workout that I did today with my team, which is, I don't really know what specifically it is about it that I like so much, but basically we have this kind of horseshoe shaped loop and our coach stands at the front of the horseshoe with the whistle, and we have 2.5 minutes to run at about race pace. And then we're running with the little cone in our hand, and we place the cone down where we finish. And then we have anywhere from 3 to 7 reps, I think. And for every rep, we need to pick up the cone and place it a little bit further, but we still only have the same amount of time. And there's just something about running through with a bunch of other people, through the cones, and we all start on this really narrow path. I don't know what it is, but I really feel the energy of the whole team there, just kind of seeing everyone push themselves as hard as they can, just to get that little bit more distance, and everyone's celebrating when they do. And at the end, everyone cooling down together. It's just it's just a super awesome team vibe that comes from that.
That's cool. And I will tell you guys that these are things that you'll remember forever, and they'll be almost like war stories that you'll share with your teammates forever. Remember when we did this and we were so cool? So, I mean, those sound really fun. And also hard. And I feel like sometimes the hardest things are the most enjoyable when you conquered it.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So I think we need to get to last week's results, because we had a lot going on in the state, and you guys were at some different meets. All 3 of us were, right, at different meets. So I'm going to start with Fiona first, because you went to what will be the New England Championship course. So tell us about Belfast.
Yeah, no, it was awesome that our coach was able to get us into it. So it was a 3.5-hour bus ride there. And what's the inspiration?
I just don't mean to interrupt you, but I remember it in my head as 4.5 or 5 hours. So the fact that you say 3.5, it makes me happy that it was only that, because it just seemed like we drove until the end of the universe. Okay, so continue.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. No problem. I ended up having to get up at I think it was, 5 a.m. because the bus left at around 5:30ish. And yeah, we all got on there. Everyone brought their pillows and blankets because everyone just wanted to sleep. We made the boys team double up so that the girls, because we only brought 12 girls, so the girls could get their own seats. But yeah, that was a really long ride. I woke up, I think, 4 different times and went back to bed because I'm we're still not there yet. But the actual course itself was in great condition. I think it'd be a great PR course. Honestly, a lot of girls on our team and boys on our team got PRs. So it was relatively, I stay flat. There was a few like hills, but they were very short, and then you had like a downhill going to uphills. It's grassy and there's some loops, so definitely like I'd recommend spikes for everyone. But the meet itself, there was I think more than 700 girls and 800 boys, so yeah, that was kind of split into a number of different races, but no, it was just such a big meet. So definitely a preview of what New England's would look like.
Right. And what was the weather like there? I mean, was it because it was hot where we were. Was it hot up there? I know that it seems crazy to think it would be different, but sometimes 3 hours, it can be different.
Yeah, no, the weather didn't feel like that bad. It was good conditions. I think it was like overcast. So,
nice.
Or actually during the girls' race, I think it was partly cloudy, but then for the boys, I think it was overcast. So it was a really good temperature, really great conditions. It was a little wet from the day before, but that didn't really matter because the course held up really well.
Right. Yeah. No pavement that I remember.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Awesome. And where did you guys go? Where did Hanover go last weekend?
Yeah, so we went to Black Bear. That's kind of been the team tradition for as long as I can remember, and probably as long as Coach Piccone and Coach Dorcas have been coaching. I mean, I feel like Black Bear is just like one of the classic meets that Hanover always goes to. And it was definitely a good race for the team. I don't know how the other schools down south have fared, but pretty much every school in like the Upper Valley area has been kind of racked with some. It hasn't been COVID, thank goodness, but like pretty much everyone's gotten some head cold or chest cold. So that was kind of so that was kind of messing with the whole team. I know I definitely wasn't feeling great on the start line, but I just kind of thought about everyone else and how hard they were pushing. But yeah, Black Bear, it's kind of like the tried and true big invitational meet. I mean, it's like right up there with Manchester, I think. So
right. They do such a good job there. The course is totally challenging, so well maintained, and it was quite a field, right? Like as far as competition goes.
Yeah.
Any go ahead.
Well, so I was going to say something about the course. I don't know how anyone else feels about this, but in my opinion, it's probably the hardest cross-country course I've ever run on in my life. Maybe it's not the slowest, but mentally I find it even, I'm not going to say worse, but even more challenging than like Woods Trail, which I ran at New England's in 2021. Like there's something about it. I don't know why. It's just kind of like really, again, I'm not going to say breaks my spirit because that would be a little bit of an exaggeration, but like there's something about that course that I feel really kind of like gets under my, like, just kind of really irks me in some way with, I think maybe the hill that you go up twice at the 2nd mile and the 3rd mile.
Right.
But but I feel like I should like the course because I like going out fast and it has the net downhill for the 1st mile. And I love the single track, but there's something about it. It's like kind of deceptively slow, I think. I don't know if it's the terrain. I was actually talking with, I think it may have been the Phillips Exeter coach. I was just chatting with him a little bit. And he told me that like there is no right shoe wear for the course just because it's like it's a little too unstable to be perfectly comfortable in spikes, but since it has that packed mud, spikes would still be good. So it's just kind of like so many different options. I know Byron Grievous was running in, I don't think he was running in trainers, but he was running in like Alpha Flies or something.
Really?
He definitely wasn't wearing spikes.
Interesting. And I think when you talked about the single track piece of it, I actually feel like that piece is the most challenging because it's technical as far as like the rates and stuff go. And there's not a lot of passing happening there. So, I do think that kind of adds a unique flair to that course, which is just, I don't know. I think it's cool, but it makes it harder, which is great because it's cross country, right? Like we want it to.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you guys have any like shout outs of any performances or teams that in the races that you guys were at?
Yeah. Sorry, Fiona, if you were going to go first.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I mean, specifically, I'd like to shout out, I know we were already talking a little bit about the Hook Athletes of the Week, but I really want to shout out Jamie because he really I was talking with him after the race and basically he came in there and he said, okay, I'm going to force myself to stick to Tam and Byron for as long as I can. And I think that takes serious guts to do that because they're both nationally ranked. Byron's ranked, I think, either 2nd or 3rd in the country. So just kind of Jamie going in there with that mentality and really making himself stick there the whole time, right up until like 800 to go or something. I think that's very, very praiseworthy. And that it was definitely a gutsy race.
That's awesome.
For me, I think, that race was actually really awesome. Ruth White was competing in it, who absolutely, she swept Manch Invite when she ran that. So I was expecting, big things from her going into it, but wow, she got like it was I think she got like a 16:56 or something.
Right.
For that course. And she absolutely blew everyone away. So definitely shout out to her. Like, she is a powerhouse. Like, it's amazing always watching her run and competing with her. I think we all kind of went out chasing her, but you just can't.
Right.
It's insane. But also, my teammate Kelsey O'Neill, who we kind of ran with each other, kind of supported each other throughout that race. She's been a big help with training during the season too. So those are the shout outs that I would do.
Yeah. Ruth, I saw is ranked now 24th in the nation.
Wow.
And wasn't ranked before that race, to my knowledge, which is crazy because I feel like she should be. But wow, 16:56.
Yeah, I think she's got like a course record definitely, or meet something like that. So she's doing great.
Yeah, so cool. So my team, we have gone to the Black Bear Invitational, but we have changed it up, and not like we won't go back to it because we love it up there. But we've changed it up and we've gone to the Kennett Invite, and that is in North Conway. And it's just like a totally different environment. So it kind of takes the week before of Manchester Invitational and being like super intense and kind of like really serious. And not that the Kennett Invite isn't like serious or isn't a race or we're not racing hard, but it's just like such a fun atmosphere. So the course is it is actually relatively flat, but this year with the conditions being so, it was actually pretty warm because our races were in the afternoon. It wasn't quite as fast as we thought it was going to be. But it's just like, so it's different terrain than Manchester. They actually had kids from their band that were also cross-country runners playing the national anthem. And there was a banjo playing the national anthem from the band. And then he went and ran in the race. Like, how cool is that?
That's awesome.
It's so awesome. And then they have this massive buffet of baked goods, and like they had like mac and cheese and all this food, like so all the athletes can walk through and get food and then sit at the awards. And at the awards, they actually give out all this swag too. So there's like t-shirts to the top 10, and then they give additional mugs with chocolates in it to the top 5. So I don't know about you guys, but my team loves to get swag and, different kind of swag. So I know Tess was like super pumped about the mug and that she could eat some ice cream out of it. So it was just like a really, really fun day. And I would shout out to a couple of people that broke up some of our packs. So Nolan Peters from Portsmouth broke up the boys pack, the boys Pinkerton pack, and had a really solid race. And then also Mia Schur of Portsmouth, she broke up our Pinkerton pack as well and got right in there, and she placed 4th. So it was a good day. We had some good competition. It was just super fun. So really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And just out of curiosity, how far away is Kennett from where Pinkerton is?
It's it's like 2 hours. So we kind of make a whole trip of it and go out to dinner and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a little bit of a hike, but not 3.5 or 5 as I remembered it going to Belfast. So what else do we have? Okay, so this week, let's talk about this week. We're all at the same meet.
Battle of the Border.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit. What are your thoughts about going into that? And I don't know. Yeah.
I mean,
either one of you.
Okay. I mean, it's definitely a great prep for MOCs. And for me specifically, I have a little bit of a dragon to slay when it comes to the Alvern course, because MOCs last year was like the worst race of my season. And I also feel like Alvern, it goes exactly against my racing style, because I usually like to go out really fast and try to maintain it. But with that net uphill first mile, I'm going to kind of have to force myself to tone it back a little bit. I probably shouldn't be revealing my strategy, but yeah, so I think it's definitely a great mental exercise, running that course and just kind of really switching up how I run. And yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Hopefully they fix the start just a little bit, because
we were talking about the course today in the locker room, and my sophomores have vivid memories that make them unhappy. But I think that's because they remember it being so hot. Do you guys remember Meet at Champions being so hot?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I think that that's like burned in their memory. And I feel like we're all going to have such a different experience this weekend, because we are going to have some rain.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get muddy. I think everyone's going to get muddy.
That's for sure.
A little dirty. But
right.
For, I guess, me going into the Battle of the Border, I'm super excited to just kind of have a preview of Meet of Champs. There's a lot of, the top teams of New Hampshire are just going to be there, so it's going to be great competition. And just seeing, how our teams are laid out and doing. So, that we're, as a team, going to collectively try and see where we're at in comparison with other teams, and also compete with each other. But yeah, I remember last year, JV girls competed at Alvern, and they all PR'd on our team because the conditions were great. And then we went there for MOCs, and we're like, this is our day. And then it was just so hot. It was insane. Wow. So definitely we'll be competing with the conditions, but it's all right.
Right. And it's in the afternoon because of SATs. So I think that's going to be the rainiest part of the day too. So, which I'm kind of excited about, I mean, that's true cross country, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know about you, but the worse the conditions, the more excited I usually get for the race, just because for track, I like everything to be completely perfect. I like the best conditions, running around in circles. But for cross country, I like just absolute madhouse in the race. I don't know why. Right. I just think it's just kind of the vibe of the sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The tougher, the better, really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the me preview is up on New Hampshire Cross Country. And really, most of the top teams in the state are going to be represented, because 9 of the top 10 boys teams are going to be there, and 7 of the top 10 girls teams. So we're going to see all of them. And I think what I'm most excited about is that we'll all be in the same race together. Yeah. So unlike Manchester, where we had small and large school, this time we're all together, and it's really going to simulate a Meet of Champions feel in a lot of ways. Yeah. What do you guys think the same thing?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do. I think it's going to be really cool to see how all the teams stack up with each other. But I also think a lot can change. I think Meet of Champions is 23 days away, which sounds nuts when I say it out loud, because that's really close. In my head, that sounded a lot farther away. But yeah, Meet of Champs is still more than 3 weeks away. But I definitely think it's still going to be a great kind of predictor to see where all the teams and where all the individuals are at as well.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
We have in the girls' race, Oyster River, Hanover, Pinkerton, Bedford, of course, all going to be there, including a Massachusetts team, Needham, who finished 4th at MI, and they have some really solid runners too. So that's, I think, really, really cool, having everybody up there, in the same race. What are you thinking about at the front of the pack there, Fiona? Because, we're likely going to see you up there. So you think you'll have a lot of people to run with? I know you're not going to want to brag, but
I think, I'm just going to have to by my pack. Like, I've competed with some of these girls, not all of them, throughout the season so far. So yeah, I know kind of where my pace is. So probably stick with those girls and yeah, see where the front pack takes me, but also compete with the girls that I haven't seen yet this season. Like, I haven't really competed much with Oyster River or any of those. But we're probably all gonna kind of be in the same area. I'm sure Leia will probably take it out fast because that's kind of, it's been her strategy, I think, throughout the whole season. She's been doing amazing for herself, so that's awesome. But yeah, just kind of pace with the girls who I've been running with and see how everyone else from there is competing. So.
Right. So, I mean, Leia has been from Hanover, of course, right? Has been super dominant individually, so I expect to see her in that similar form, running really strong. We also have, Mackenzie Cook from Oyster River, obviously Fiona, yourself, the girls on my team. I think it's going to be really awesome because that competition that you guys have is going to make you better. So I always say that I love the thing I love about New Hampshire cross country the most is that we all help each other get better. And when we go to New England, we represent New Hampshire in such a positive way, right? So here we are coming together with the best competition, making ourselves more competitive for the rest of the season.
Yeah, totally. I also love kind of how the perspective shifts depending on the meet, because I feel like at states and MOCs, I'm always like, all right, come on, Hanover. And then once we get to New England and even like maybe Nike regionals, I'm always just like, okay, any team from New Hampshire, come on, you got this. And I'll be cheering on the teams that like just a week before I was kind of like, okay, come on, if we can just get one more athlete in front of that team, right? So I don't know.
Right.
I just think it's a really interesting shift in perspective from like team and then state and then honestly even region, like watching Byron and Aiden and Patrick and unfortunately not Berhanu run at NXN. Like it was just so cool seeing people who've like I've actually talked to and met run at that meet. So it was just like awesome. I'd always cheer whenever I saw them on the screen. It was just super great.
Yeah, so cool. So can you talk to us about like the boys race in terms of the teams that are going to be represented and like like what you guys are talking about in the locker room in terms of, the teams you're going to be competing with, don't give away your secrets here, but you want to talk to us about your competition this weekend?
Yeah. I mean, as you already said, we have 9 out of the top 10 teams that are going to be there, which is very, very nerve-wracking, but also super cool. Like, as I already said, it's going to be a great indicator for where everyone's at for Meet of Champs. And I don't know if I'm quite supposed to say this, but no one told me I couldn't. So this is also going to be kind of like the first meet where the whole boys team is going to be kind of more fresh and healthier and just great, because I don't think at Manvites or at Black Bear, we had kind of like a full head cold, chest cold free varsity or junior varsity for that matter as well. So I think it's going to be super awesome to kind of watch the magic happen with like a whole healthy team. But yeah, there's definitely going to be some awesome competition. I'm super psyched to see how everyone does.
Right. Well, I'm going to go and say what I said. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but my motherly advice to all of you is to make sure that you're not sharing water bottles, not sharing chapsticks, right? Where,
Yes.
Washing our hands and singing the happy birthday song and doing all those things, because the colds we know go through the team like wildfire, and immune systems are already down because you guys are working so hard day in and day out in school and on the course. And so you want to like do all you can to stay healthy, right? It's so hard when we get sick. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. So Fiona, anything your team is like, really looking forward to from this week, or like, as far as the team competition goes, or for this weekend?
For this weekend?
Yeah.
No, I think that we're just excited to compete with all these teams because it's definitely a preview for MOCs. Yeah, and I know that it'll all come down to kind of the conditions. It's going to be different because our conditions have been pretty good for, I think, all of the meets that we've ran in so far. So the fact that this is going to be kind of different is going to be really interesting. and just, yeah, seeing how far like mentally you can push yourself will be like great for our team. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, agreed. So you guys are really experienced, and you probably have a lot of wisdom within your noggin. So I'm going to ask you guys if you have any advice for our listeners out there. As a runner, as a student athlete, anything that they can take away from this from your perspective. So Fiona, you can start. I'm putting you on the spot because it wasn't on the agenda, but the last thing we already talked about. So I'm making a new thing.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think for me, I think as a senior, this is definitely more like my advice as a senior, but definitely just enjoy all the time you have with your team. Like, I know as a freshman, my year was kind of cut off because of COVID. It was irregular. So I only really had 3 whole years with my team. And I think just as a senior, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss them so much. I'm going to want to come to every practice like once I'm in college, because it's just great to see how everyone's grown. So yeah, just cherish those memories, cherish the bus rides, cherish all like the workouts. I think that's something I would take away. And as far as being, I think, a student athlete goes, definitely don't procrastinate. I'm really bad at procrastinating. So that would be my future advice. Just be good about, managing everything, especially if you like do cross country and track. It's going to get hectic, but you can do it. Like, it's doable. You can definitely manage.
That's great advice.
Yeah. I guess for me, well, I originally thought you meant advice for like course specific advice for Alvern, but I guess for like more general advice. Yeah. I mean, everything Fiona said, I totally agree with. Like, cherish every second you have with your teammates, because cross country is such a magical sport, and I feel like teams always almost always come together like so well, and it really is like one big sisterhood or brotherhood or personhood or family. Like, everyone just like molds really well, and it's super important to just appreciate that. But I would also say, like, take care of yourself as an athlete as well. Like, I know coaches have probably been saying this every day to their athletes, but like, running is I'd even say like running is 40% of what you should be doing. Like, there's all the weight stuff, all the core, all that, but even beyond that, just like the basics of making sure you're hydrated, making sure you're eating enough, right? And making sure you're getting good sleep. I think sleep is like the most important thing. And especially for seniors, Fiona, I know you and I are probably working on our college applications, or at least thinking about it. Juniors have SATs, and specifically at Hanover, the chemistry class is really hard.
I was a chemistry teacher for 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you want to talk chemistry anytime, I'm your girl. I love it. I love to math. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the juniors in our team would definitely love to talk to you a little bit.
Oh, yes, please. Okay. So I didn't mean to cut you off. So keep going.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of like, take care of yourself. And something I always preach to a lot of my teammates and friends and even siblings who are like starting to really get into running, as I kind of tell them how awesome it is like, don't try to just be a runner. I think it's really important to also be kind of like an athlete who runs as well as just a runner. And I don't mean like do other sports fully and take a whole season off from running. I mean, people definitely can do that. I think it's very healthy, especially for underclassmen, to kind of have a season off to rest and reset their body. But I think it's really easy for people to just kind of fall into the trap of just running and not really doing anything else. But it's super important, I think, to kind of have that full body, like, strength and flexibility and just kind of like limberness and power. That's really important, that you can't really just get from running, I think. And I think that's one of the big secrets with the Hanover girls team right now is like almost everyone is also a big Nordic skier. And Nordic skiing, even though a lot of people think it's like just an endurance sport, just like running, it's basically kind of like doing intervals the whole time, because downhills you're just kind of tucked and going, and then uphills you're pretty much like all out sprint up hills every time. So it's a super power based sport. And I think it's really, really beneficial for runners, especially for younger runners, to kind of diversify their sport portfolio and really kind of like work on power and flexibility and everything as well.
Right. Man, I'm sorry. I would just say that you are wise beyond your years, man. So wise. And I wish that I had thought about those things when I was your age, because now when I'm trying to squeeze every bit of talent out of my body, that is like, you've been running for how many decades? 3.5 decades. Could you please give me a break? Like, I do all those things now, and I wish that I did more of it when I was younger. So such just great advice. And Fiona, I cut you off. So what were you going to say?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I was like nodding my head the whole time because I totally agree with that. I cross train with swimming during the winter. Like, I love swimming. It's just my favorite thing. It's just great because, especially if you're injured, I know like sometimes by the end of the season you're just broken. I think just things that you can do, like an outlet of stress for me is sports. So it's nice that even if I have something hurting, that I can always go in the water, which is low impact, and just do whatever sets I can, and it builds different muscles, makes you stronger as an athlete. So I think that's really great advice, cross training.
Yeah, and it's so cool. When you get older, you could do triathlons too, because the swimming is the hardest part to pick up.
That's what everyone tells me.
Yeah, it'd be so fun. So, seeing that you guys are seniors, where are you looking next year? Any decisions made, or any narrowing down, or is that question making you stressed out by me saying it?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I still have kind of a very, very split path ahead of me, because I could go to college and run there and be very happy and successful 100%. But another thing that I was talking to my coach and my parents about is I'm considering doing a PG year somewhere at some private prep school, just because I only started running as a sophomore, like winter, spring of my sophomore year. Before that, I did mainly like karate, kickboxing, and rock climbing as like my 3 main sports. And I did cross country and track freshman year, but I just kind of did that to keep fit. And then sophomore year, I ended up like PRing by 90 seconds, my last race of the season. And I was like, okay, I can't get into college for kickboxing. I can't get into college for rock climbing. And I just feel like the closest climbing gym to Hanover, since it's kind of like in the middle of nowhere, it was like a 2-hour drive, and even that one was going to shut down from COVID. So I was just like, okay, running, I can do anywhere with anything. All I need is a pair of shoes. And even then, I only run in shoes like 60% of the time I run. And then it's just like, okay, I'm going to really, really focus on this. So I don't know. I just feel like having a whole extra year to develop before kind of entering the college scene, I think personally for me, that would work really well, just because I'm a little worried, because since I am a younger runner, I think kind of jumping into like 80 miles a week, really hard workouts, really hard strength training, I think just having an extra year to get my body really used to that sort of stuff and work on my aerobic fitness and my base more than anything. I think that'd be super good for me. But I'm still on the fence about it. I'm not quite sure about anything yet. But yeah,
that's so like such a strong plan and strong idea. And I'm always so I am an administrator, like sort of like an assistant principal at my school, and I'm in charge of half of our senior class. And I'm always telling my seniors, there's no one right way, there's no one correct path. And once you get out of high school, it's like everybody does it differently. It's not really like being a freshman is year 1 and being a sophomore is year 2. I mean, it is, but not like it isn't. It's your path. So that's cool. Really cool. How about you, Fiona? Where are you kind of like leaning towards, or any sort of idea yet?
Yeah, I think junior year, like I did pretty well. So I was like, you know what, I think I really want to run in college. So from there, I just kind of started the process, got myself with online recruiting site and CSA, I think. And I've just kind of been communicating with coaches through there. I've been looking at some D1 schools hoping to run, that would be awesome. Also, like a Canadian school, because I'm like dual citizen, so that's also an option. Cool, yeah. But yeah, if you told me like freshman year that I'd be doing this, I wouldn't believe you, because swimming was like my main thing. Like I've done it since I was 7 years old. So now that it's just like switched, just because I've fallen in love with the sport, definitely throughout high school. So I'm just really excited, and I'm really hoping that that's in my future. So yeah,
that's so cool. And speaking as somebody who ran cross country in college, what I can tell you guys is that it's so awesome to start your college off being on a team right away, because you get to meet so many people, and you get to meet so many people like you, right? Like, so you have like instant friends, and they're all like you, and they all work hard in school, and they're all like motivated people, and they're all doing the right things, and like there for the right reasons. And it's just such a great way to start, your college career off, being an athlete in the fall. Like I wouldn't have traded it for anything. I used to say that I was a cross country major and a chemistry minor, because that was my first love. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's so cool. And what is so great about cross country is, especially in college, there's nothing during the week as far as competition. It's all on the weekends, right? So like you really have the time during the week to focus on your schoolwork, and then meets are on the weekends. And it just makes it so that you can do really serious work, and you can be in like have hard coursework, and you can manage and do well in academically and be an athlete. So if it didn't make it another reason why our sport is the best sport in the entire world, right?
Totally.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think we've been talking for a while.
Yeah, we have.
So much to talk about.
I know. Anything else that we'd missed, or I don't know. I always do this on my other podcast. Do you guys have a shout out to anybody out in New Hampshire? Whether it's on your team or somebody you want to shout out to?
I mean, I kind of have one big shout out that I've been wanting to give in like a big public sphere for a while now, which is so my former teammate, Mac Levy and Patrick Gandini, were two people who always they just have hearts of gold. Like Mac, I was like a really weird kid when I was a freshman, and he was like one of the few kind of like, although he was only a sophomore, like he's kind of always been a senior in my eyes. And he was like one of the few people that really, really showed me like a lot of compassion, and was just like super, super awesome, and stood up for me. And he's definitely one of the big reasons why I kept coming back to the sport, and eventually found my love for it. And still, like the night before every single meet, I text him and I'm like, hey man, do you have any advice for this course or this race or running against this specific person? And also Patrick Gandini is kind of in like a similar boat, because I remember being like a sophomore. This was before I kind of had any breakout races. I went up to him and I said, that was an awesome race, man. You did so great. And he was like, I don't really care about my race. How did you do, man? And I was just this like random kid who, I think my PR was like 1950 at the time. And like, he was just like so involved in my race and wanted to talk to me about what I did and like my training. And that's just like super, super cool to have someone like that just be so, so sweet and awesome. And still, even after my mile at New England's this spring, after my mile and then after Patrick's mile, I went up to him to congratulate him. And the first thing he said was, that was an awesome race about you. So it was just like kind of like that selflessness that I really, really look up to both of them. They're just both super awesome guys. So cool. So cool. How about you, Fiona? Who do you want to shout out to?
Definitely shout out to the girls I've raced with so far this year, like Contessa, Isabel, Charlotte, Leia. They've just, all put up such good races. I love competing with them, seeing them after everything's like, all the pain's done. That's also so great. And my teammate, I already mentioned her, but Kelsey O'Neill, she's just been amazing. She really stepped it up and has done amazing for herself. I'm so proud of her. Yeah, we're like practicing together at lifting together, doing everything. And yeah, she's just really positive, really great for the team. She is an inspiration for everyone. So it's awesome.
So good. So good. Well, I think at this point, maybe we should wrap things up because you guys are exceptional student athletes and maybe you might have some homework or want to focus on your sleep because, you know, it's 2 nights before the big race and that's like, you know, the most important, right? So
Yes.
we don't want to keep you guys up too late. So we probably should wrap it up, but I just want to thank you two for joining me today. I think you guys were such a great addition and, you know, spoiler alert, you might be back later on. So we hope our listeners continue to listen and give us feedback. You know, again, we're looking for what you all want to hear from us and, you know, how we can make this better and yeah, all things New Hampshire cross country. So I don't know about you guys, but I love New Hampshire cross country. How about you guys?
Oh yeah, totally.
I love it so much.
Like, I hope that when I'm 40 or 50, I'll still be listening to this podcast and sweeping the Hoka Results Hub and watching states. And for the rest of my life, I know that as long as I can, I'm going to be involved here because it's just such an awesome community. And like, yeah, California has like 1 million people running sub 15s, but like, I feel like everyone in New Hampshire is always rooting for each other. And it's like, again, there's the team family, then there's also the 603 family that I love. It's just kind of like everyone in the state, right?
You just coined a phrase, man. The 603 family. That's it.
Should be on a t-shirt.
Should totally be on
I would totally buy a t-shirt that says that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So anything else before we sign off? Any other thoughts?
I mean, I just want to say thank you one more time. This has been a huge honor. It's been so cool talking with everyone, meeting you, Fiona, and I guess meeting you as well, Coach Bernard, because I don't think we've had any. I don't think we've ever talked before, other than me kind of listening to the podcasts. But yeah, just thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun, and yeah, thank you.
And likewise, you guys, it's really been so fun to talk to both of you. I hope you come and find me at the meet, and I wish you the best season ever. I know you guys are going to be outstanding, but I just can't wait to see your seasons unfold. So I can't wait for you guys to be back on, and thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for
inviting me.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
Good luck to both of you as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. So